Are you taking the digital SAT? Today I thought I would walk you through the format of the test and just show you how the game works. Part 1, the layout of the test. Let me begin by going through the structure of the test, the format of the test, how it's going to be organized. The digital SAT has 4 sections. They call them modules now. You begin with 2 verbal modules, then you'll have a break, followed by 2 math modules. Each verbal module is 32 minutes in length. You have 27 questions, only 25 of which count. 2 of them are experimental questions. You won't know which ones are which. And each math module is 35 minutes, 22 questions, only 20 of which count. 2 of which are experimental. You won't know which ones are which. So on game day, the first module is a verbal module, reading and writing. The second module is a verbal module. Then you get your 10-minute break, followed by the first math module, followed by the second math module. And then that's it. Now let's talk a little bit more about the details. Part 2, this is an important one. What does it mean for the SAT to be adaptive? The digital SAT is in fact now adaptive, and how you perform on the first part of the test determines which questions you see for the second part of the test. The digital SAT is adaptive by module, not by question. Each individual question does not result in a change to the questions you see. The first module determines which second module you see. What this means is that first module for the verbal and the first module for the math is crucial to determining the maximum possible score you can achieve on those sections. The first module will be an even mix of easy, medium, and hard questions. If you have accumulated enough points on that first module, you'll be routed to the upper level second module. There will be some threshold number determined that you have to hit to get to that upper level. If you hit that threshold number, the test adapts to your performance and routes you to the upper level module, which will have more medium and hard questions than easy questions. If you do not accumulate enough points in that first module, then the test will adapt to your performance and route you to the lower second module, which has more easy and medium questions than hard questions. That's how it's adaptive. Part 3, let's talk about scoring. How is the digital SAT scored? Well, it's going to be familiar to you. It's between 400 and 1600, just like the pencil and paper SAT. You can get a maximum of 800 on the verbal and a maximum of 800 on the math. You take your 2 scores, you add them together, and you have your digital SAT score. Nothing new and exciting to that. But how you get there, that's where things get interesting. On the pencil and paper SAT, each question was worth the same number of points. Hard question, medium question, easy question, 1 point. That is no longer the case on the digital SAT. Each question is now scaled differently based on several factors, the most important of which being how hard is the question. The harder the question is determined to be, the higher the weight that question will have as you accumulate points. This means it might be worth learning the techniques for harder questions so you can try and grab those points if they come your way on game day. Why is this important that they're worth different amounts? Because the digital SAT is a game of accumulation. You want to accumulate as many points as you possibly can. And the more hard questions you see, the more points you'll be able to get. This is why it's so crucially important you land in that upper second module if you're trying to score a 650 or higher on the digital SAT, because you need to have access to those harder questions so you can get the necessary points. Really important point. The first module is not simply used to determine whether you do the upper level second module or the lower level second module. The number of points you've accumulated in that module is added to the number of points you accumulate in the second module. So it's crucially important you get as many points as you can on that first module. You don't just stop when you think you've hit the threshold. You get as many points as you can get. My advice here is simple. Don't waste too much time during the test trying to determine if you're in the easy or the hard second module. Is this an easy question, a medium question, or a hard question? Just prepare yourself for the different types of questions you will see and learn what you need to learn to get those questions right. It sounds stupidly obvious, but a setup like this could push you to a point where you're thinking about things that you don't need to be thinking about and distracting yourself from the task at hand, which is really quite simple. get as many questions right as you can. And if you do as much practice as you can heading into the digital SAT, you won't look at them as easy, medium, or hard. You'll just say, oh, that's a commas question where I need to use my 9-step checklist. Oh, that's a quadratics question where I need to use the discriminant. Oh, that's a researcher's notes question where I need to do this, this, and that. That's how you want to look at the questions, as question types. So then you have your game plan. You recognize and you respond.